Welcome back to part 2, guys. So let's continue where we left off. We were discussing the different ways identity theft happens on the web. You know how many websites ask you to set security questions that you can answer when you forget your password? Conveniently for hackers, lots of these answers line up easily with our social media content. Which elementary school did you go to? If a would-be identity thief knows where you grew up, the answer is a piece of cake. If they can get your questions right, then they can walk straight into your account. Check your privacy settings on Facebook, Instagram, and any other social media platforms you use, and consider making your account more private. Identity thieves can also use phishing and pharming attacks to fool you into handing over sensitive personal information. Phishing attacks involve luring a victim with bait like a sneaky email that appears to come from a trusted contact or with messages from a spoofed social media account. If you reply, you risk disclosing the info that the attacker needs to steal your identity. Pharming is similar to phishing, but on a much wider scale. Instead of using phishing bait, pharming attacks stealthily redirect victims to fake websites designed to look legitimate and that you trust them. Once there, if you attempt to log in or conduct other business, you risk giving your personal data to the attacker. Since both phishing and pharming attacks rely on deception and social engineering tricks, always practice smart email and website safety habits. Malware or malicious software is a favored tool for many cybercriminals, identity and data thieves included. Certain types of malware are particularly well suited for the job, like spyware, which can secretly record your online behavior and collect your data. With spyware, you won't even know that a hacker has infected your computer or phone to stealthily vacuum up all your sensitive personal data. Most of you should be well enough protected with some form of AVs, an antivirus software installed on your computer. The basic Windows Defender that is pre-installed on any Windows operating system should be enough to deal with most basic form of spyware and malware. However, keep in mind that antivirus software cannot catch all of them, so you still need to practice safe habits to make sure you do not download any suspicious files from an unknown source on the internet. If an identity thief obtains your email password, they can comb through your emails to collect all sorts of information. They can even pose as you and email other people to collect even more information about you and your contacts. Identity thieves usually buy passwords on the dark web from those who've already stolen them. Then, acting as email hackers, they can use malware, phishing, and even various password cracking tools to gain access to your account. Protect your email account with a strong and unique password that uses a mix of letters, numbers, and symbols, or generate a random password, and update it frequently to keep hackers guessing. Always log out after checking your email on any computer you don't own, and use a strong password manager to keep track of all your passwords. We strongly recommend the free version of Bitwarden. We talk a lot about being careful on unsecured public Wi-Fi, and here's why. Anyone with a little hacking know-how and access to the right tools can park their computer on a public Wi-Fi network and spy on everyone else. For a data thief, public Wi-Fi is an all-you-can-eat buffet, and they're back for their fifth plate. If your home Wi-Fi router isn't protected properly with a strong password, hackers can easily gain access to your router. With the ability to control your router, a hacker can redirect your traffic to pharming websites or install malware like sniffers that collect your data. Protect yourself on unsecured Wi-Fi with a VPN which encrypts all your internet traffic, even on unsafe networks. Using a reliable VPN is a must anytime you're using public Wi-Fi. Even if your router is sealed tight with the world's most uncrackable password, your browser might be giving away your data. So before entering your personal information into any website, always look for a little padlock icon on your browser's address bar. The padlock means that the website you're using is protecting you with HTTPS encryption, which secures your data as it travels to and from that website. The website on the left has HTTPS encryption and is secure. The site on the right does not. Websites without HTTPS can leave you exposed to anyone peeking in on your traffic. This includes the Wi-Fi hackers described above, as well as your internet service provider or even the government. HTTPS also lets you know that you were likely connected to a legitimate website. Many pharming websites will use plain old HTTP instead. The next time you log into your online banking account, check for HTTPS. If you don't see it, then that's a big red flag that something is wrong. For example, something like the browser extension HTTPS Everywhere enforces websites to use HTTPS encryption when you connect. Even if you're going to an unsecured website, your traffic will be safe from prying eyes. This is basically automatic HTTPS encryption. Sadly, identity theft happens far too often. The Federal Trade Commission, or the FTC, in the United States received 444,602 identity theft reports in 2018 alone. This represents a 41% increase in annual identity theft reports since 2008. Over 35% of reports received were instances of credit card fraud, which is when an identity thief opens a new credit card in someone else's name. Meanwhile, the Center for Victim Research reports that 21% of victims in the U.S. suffer multiple instances of identity theft per year. The actual number of victims in the United States is closer to 7 to 10% of the total population because many victims are successfully targeted more than once. No one is immune from identity theft, but some people are at a higher risk than others. Identity thieves prey on people less likely or less able to regularly monitor their financial accounts. They'll also look for people without good internet security habits, like anyone who uses the same password for multiple accounts. People in the following groups may be at an elevated risk of identity theft: college students and recent graduates. Young adults taking their first steps into the financial dependence may not have the experience needed to avoid scams and phishing attacks. They're also prone to oversharing on social media, which can expose valuable information. Children. Identity thieves are drawn to clean credit histories, which make children ideal targets. Children may also be less savvy when it comes to detecting online threats. Seniors. Seniors are frequently targeted for all types of scams, including identity theft. Like children, they're also prone to being exploited by their caregivers. High-income people and business owners. Every thief loves a big score. Identity thieves target people with advanced degrees and higher income or net worth because the payoff may be larger, and they may also hold keys to valuable corporate data. Deployed service members. Anyone unable to regularly check their finances, like active service members, are at a risk of identity theft since they may not notice suspicious activity until it's too late. Deployed service members are even targeted by friends and family who know they won't be coming home for a while. Pretty sick. Incarcerated people. Like active service members, people in prison may also have a hard time performing regular checks on their finances and credit, and they're vulnerable to exploitation by friends and family for identity theft. The deceased. The specter of death itself is no deterrent to an enterprising identity thief. Stealing the identity of a deceased person is known as ghosting, and if no one's paying attention, the thief can successfully pose as their target for years. We have reached the end of part 2, guys. Make sure to stay tuned for our next and final part for more interesting information such as examining warning signs of identity theft and much more.